Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Wooclap training session. Thank you all for joining us here today. We usually give a couple of minutes at the start just to let everyone join. It's just gone 4 o'clock, so we'll wait a couple of minutes before we get started. If you're here, don't hesitate to let us know in the chat by sending a little hello. So I know if there's people here, that'd be nice. As I said, we'll wait a couple of minutes for people to join. And while we're waiting for people to join, we can go ahead and get started with a little first question. So as I said, while we're waiting for people to join, don't hesitate to already join our Wooclap event. So you can do so by scanning the QR code on screen that you see with your camera device. You can go to wooclap.com and enter the event code HORJUXA, or you can join via the link that my colleague Mikel has just sent into the chat. So go ahead and, as I said, you can already join the event. You can see more people are starting to join as we go through. Hello to everyone who's just joining us. Go ahead and join the Wooclap event so that we can get started. We'll already start the first question because it might take people a little bit of time. I always think it's a good idea to do this at the start while we're waiting for people to join so that they can pass the time a little bit. So you may know this picture. But can you find where Waldo is? Might take you a little minute. So it's a nice way to start the session while we wait for everyone to get connected. So you can see on my screen down here on the bottom right-hand corner, I can see how many people are connected already. So I can see that there's 6 people. So we'll wait until we get maybe a couple of answers. Let's see if anyone manages to find him on the picture. As I said, we'll wait a minute or two to give people a chance, because this one is not as easy as the first question that I normally ask. I can see there's still people joining. Hello to everyone who's just joined. If you'd like to join in with the Wooclap event, you can join via the link that my colleague sent into the chat, and you can join that way. Or you can go to wooclap.com and enter the event code that you'll see up the top of the screen, HRJUXA. So don't hesitate to join in. This could be a bit of a hard question. So I've given a little minute there first. I'd say people are still looking. We've 2 answers. Maybe I'll try and wait for a third and then we can get started. I want to give people a chance. Alrighty. There'll be more questions coming up, so don't worry. You'll have the chance to participate a little bit later on if you still haven't found Waldo in this. So let's have a look and see. Let's show the correct answer. And there he was. Not quite. So just before we get started, I can see there's lots of people joining now. Just so I know, before we get started with the session, have you ever used Wooclap before? So there's different options. Yes, as a presenter. Yes, as a participant. Yes, as both a presenter and a participant. Or no, you've never used Wooclap before. Whatever your answer is, I'm sure you'll gain something from this session no matter what. We're going to be going through lots of different things, the basics of how to make an event, how to make questions, launch your event. We'll be going a little bit deeper into the different types of settings that you can activate, how to add a presentation, how to look at the reports, the Wooclap Asynchronous mode, and we'll also be going into Wooclap AI for those of you that have a subscription or that have a subscription that includes AI, or for those of you that are just interested to see what the different types of functionalities are. Okay, so a lot of people have used Wooclap before, mostly as a participant, some as both, and we do have some beginners as well, which is always nice to see. So you'll definitely gain something from the session. Alrighty, so we're just at 5 past, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me move to the next slide. So on the agenda for today, This session usually lasts between about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how many questions we have. My name is Lara. I'm a Customer Success Manager here at Wooclap, and I'm also joined by my colleague Mikel, who will be in the chat to answer any questions that you might have and to bring them to me up on stage if there's a need to show a live demo. So on the agenda, first off, we'll be kicking off with a little bit of context. Why Wooclap? What is Wooclap? And how did we start? Second of all, we'll be going through the demo and some use cases, as I explained previously. And then at the end, of course, we will save some time for question and answer, as always. So you'll see at the bottom of your screen, you'll have two tabs. You'll have the chat tab and you have the question tab just to the left of the chat tab. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the questions tab. This way we can answer directly to your questions and they won't get lost in the chat stream. This session will be recorded, so you'll be able to find this replay in your email upon the conclusion of the session, along with the other different resources that you might need. Alrighty, so let's get started then with a bit of context. So why Wooclap? So in a nutshell, what is Wooclap? So Wooclap is a platform of interactive questions, making courses more dynamic, effective, and better suited to the expectations and the use of the audience and presenters. So what is Wooclap? What can you do on Wooclap for those of you who maybe are beginners? You'll see that there's many different things that you can do, and we'll be going through this live in the demo. So such as incorporating Wooclap into PowerPoint, or adding PDFs directly to your Wooclap event, generating consolidated reports, captivating with interactive activities, measuring the level of comprehension to Wooclap directly. So to give some background then to Wooclap and why it was founded, Wooclap was founded on cognitive science research from this last decade in order to really rethink the way that we learn. So within this cognitive science research that Wooclap is founded on is the theory of French neuroscientist Stanislas Dehaene, who, according to him, there are 4 fundamental pillars of learning that you can see there on screen. The first one being attention. We know that in order to learn, we need to be 100% focused, and we know that distractions take away from our focus and have a negative impact on our learning. The key is to captivate and retain the attention of students, and this is something that has obviously become increasingly difficult in the context of digital or distant teaching. So we'll see how this can be done by varying classroom activities with Wooclap. Secondly, then, is active engagement. In order to remember new content, it isn't enough to passively listen to the person presenting. It's better to emit hypotheses and experiment in order to fully understand new notions and terms. Then third of all, feedback. So we know that feedback allows you to assess your learning if you made mistakes, and if you made mistakes, where you made those mistakes, and it then permits you to correct them there and then. Finally, then, is consolidation. In order to learn, we know that one must review content. So we're going to see how Wooclap can be a valuable tool before class, during class, and after class. So in all, you'll see that Wooclap is a valuable tool in addressing all 4 of these pillars and will become a useful tool for you to engage students, as I said, before, during, and after class, while gathering their input, which you can turn then into valuable teaching insights for your teaching methods. Alrighty, so now that you know what Wooclap is, you know what we're going to be looking into, let's go ahead and get started with the demonstration. So I'm going to just exit out of my presentation that I have here. Let me just move all this over so I can make my screen a little bit bigger. Perfect. Okay. So let's exit out of all of this. Alrighty. So to get us started, when you first log into Wooclap, this is what you will see. You'll see your events interface in front of you. Actually, no, back to my presentation because I know there were slides after that I should have shared. We go on start event. So we're going to start with the platform demonstration, as I said. So throughout the 40 minutes, this is what we'll be going through. First of all, to get started with Wooclap in 3 easy steps. We'll then look at how to personalize Wooclap for your working environment. So we'll have a look at the settings, uploading presentations, the asynchronous mode, and then we'll have a look at generating reports with Wooclap. So to get started with Wooclap in the 3 easy steps, we'll be going through how to create and rename your event, create your questions, and then display your questions or start your event, as you'll see. But just before I get into that, just to mention that one event we refer to be one class or one training session, and one Wooclap question to be one of our interactive activities that you will see, that I will show you. Alrighty, so let's head back then to the event interface. So as I said, when you log into Wooclap, whether it's for the first time, maybe you already have some events, maybe not, so your screen might look a little bit barer than mine. First thing we're going to do is create our event. So you'll see our big create event button here. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. This then brings you to your new event interface. So as you saw in the 3 steps, first thing we're going to do is rename your event. Usually, whenever you create a new Wooclap event, it's going to be automatically named My New Event. So very important to rename this, otherwise you're going to end up with loads and loads of events all called My New Event. So this is definitely the first step to do. So we're going to pretend today that we're doing a geography class. And we're going to say year 3. And then what you're going to do is save that event name. So your event has now been created and renamed. Second step then is to create your questions. So you'll see that we have this big blue new question button. So let's go ahead and click on this. This then brings up all of our different question types that we offer in Wooclap, categorized into use cases. So you'll see our most featured questions, questions to assess understanding, questions to gather feedback, and questions to showcase information. So let's go ahead then and create our first question. So let's go with one to assess understanding. Let's go with a simple multiple choice. So first thing to do then, when you're creating your question, is enter your question title. So the question that you want to ask. So let's ask, as it's a geography class, what is the capital of Ireland? I always like to ask this question. So is it Paris? Is it Madrid? And let's add another choice, or is it Dublin? So as this is a multiple choice question, we have to select a correct answer. And of course, I hope we all know that the correct answer is Dublin. So let's go ahead and click on Dublin. And then last step to do to save your question is to click on the save button. And there you have it. Your question has been added to your Wooclap event. So let's go ahead and do this again with another question. Maybe this time we'll go with let's go with a find on the image question. So for this one, it's going to ask you to upload an image. So I'm going to upload this map that I have in my documents already saved. So let's go find Australia on this map. So as a find on the image question, we have to add a correct zone. So let's go ahead and create a zone. You can drag this down to the area that we want to make correct. And then we can fit and scale it to size. Perfect. That's pretty accurate there, I think. And then same as before, we're going to go ahead and save this question so that it's saved to our event interface. Let's go ahead and do one final question. Maybe this time let's do one to gather feedback. So this is purely to gauge understanding. So we want to see, do our students understand maybe the GDP notion? Do you understand the GDP Notion. We can say a simple yes or no. And as before, we're going to save, and it's going to be added to our event interface. So now we've completed step 1, create our event, rename it. Step 2, create our questions. Now let's move on to step 3, to start our event. So to launch our event, we see this big start event button up here on the top right corner. Let's go ahead and launch it. So I'll invite you all to participate. Same as before, you can scan the QR code. With your mobile device, you can go to wooclap.com and enter the event code SBDUZZ, or you can join via the link that I will send into the chat now. So you'll see that link that I've just sent into the chat there. This is to join our new event that I've just created here. And as before, I have my little counter down here in the corner so I can see how many people are joining. You can see we're up at 4. Let's maybe wait for 5 people maybe. Let's have a look and see how many people we are. I can see people have found the emoji button as well. That's great. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started. So what is the capital of Ireland? Don't hesitate to vote the wrong answers, vote right answers, just so we can see what it looks like from our side. So you can see that we can automatically see then live what people are voting. Perfect. And we can see how many people have answered down here as well, 5 out of 6. Let's go ahead then and show the correct answer. We can see that it's Dublin. This then locks the vote so that people can no longer vote. And we'll move to our next question then. Find Australia on this map. So this is similar to the Where's Waldo question that I asked. Same type of question. We can see that we have our 5 answers. I can also hide this title if needs be, so I can show the entire map, or I can bring it back. Alrighty, and we'll show our correct answer. And let's move on to the third question then that we created. Do you understand the GDP notion? So this is a great question that you're able to ask using the polling question, so you can really see maybe if you just asked a question, or if you just went through a notion with your class and you want to see, do they actually understand it? You could ask a question like this and it'll let you know whether you need to go maybe back over that topic in the future or re-explain some points that you might have gone through. So as you can see then for this question, there's no correct answer. Alrighty, I'm going to just go back to the chat quickly, see if we have any questions. I think we are okay for the moment. That's good. Alrighty, so I'm going to exit then out of my event by clicking on this exit button up here to bring me back to my event interface. So now I'm going to show you how you can personalize your event to really suit it to your teaching needs and your teaching methods. So the first thing I want to show you is how you can integrate your presentation directly into Wooclap to really create that seamless transition of between your presentation and your Wooclap questions. To avoid the hassle of tool jumping and switching between screens, you can do it all from the one place, directly from within Wooclap. So when you're in your event interface, you see that we have this new Add Presentation button here, just below the Start button. So if I click here, you'll see that you have different ways that you can upload your presentation. You can import from your computer in PDF form, PowerPoint, or Keynote, or you can upload from Google Slides directly by inserting the URL. So I'm going to upload one from my computer that I already have saved. So I'm going to click on this Upload Presentation button. And I'm going to upload this geography course that I have already saved to my computer. So sometimes it takes a few seconds to upload, but we can see we have our little notifications here to let us know that it's been uploaded and converted. So that's great. So once your presentation then has been downloaded and has been inserted into your Wooclap event, let's go ahead and click on this Insert Question button. So this then brings you to the presentation tab. First time you do this, you'll be presented with this little video that you'll see here, but lucky that you have me to show you live. So we're going to skip this. So you'll see here that you have all of your slides in the middle here. So I have my 5 slides from my presentation. And then you can see on the right that I have my 3 questions that I created. So what we want to do is integrate the questions directly into the presentation. So first thing to do is to insert the join this Wooclap event slide. So you'll see when I insert this, it creates kind of like a new slide, an individual slide that has the instructions on how to join the event. So it's very important to insert this before you insert any of the questions, because otherwise your participants aren't going to know how to join the event. So very important to remember this step. We can then click and drag our questions to wherever we feel they fit best within our presentation. So let's take this last one and slot it in here. So you'll then see that this nearly creates a separate slide for each question, and you'll see them all nicely integrated into the presentation that you uploaded. So once you've slotted in your questions where you like in your presentation, you're going to go ahead and click on this Save button down here. This is going to ensure then that your questions are saved in the place that you wanted them to be and are nicely integrated into that presentation. So then once I'm out of that, the next thing to do in terms of personalizing your event to making sure that it suits exactly what you want to use it for is to activate the settings that are going to work best for you. So you'll see that we have this settings button up here to the left of the start event. Let's click on here. So you might notice that the settings has slightly changed if any of you used Wooclap before. So we've done this to make it more interactive and easier for you to find exactly what you need. So you'll see that they're all categorized into the different use cases of each of the different types of settings. So you'll see the first one that we have is interactivity. So we've lots of different options here. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe activate some of them so that we can see how it looks when we rerun the event. So the first thing we have is competition mode. So this allows participants, adds the gamification of Wooclap and allows them to gain points for the different questions that they answer correctly and to move up the rankings. So let's activate this. We can then add a timer to all questions. So we'll activate this and we'll see what this looks like. Maybe, and you can obviously edit the timer to be whatever you like. So maybe let's do a 30-second timer to all questions. There's also this option to answer as a group. So when you create groups, it's shared answers and everyone selects which group that they'd like to be a part of when they join the event. So that's something that you can experiment with yourself. We then have the display answers automatically. So we can enable this or disable this. With competition mode, this is automatically disabled, but you can enable it if you would like. We then have the I'm confused button that you'll be able to see once we go back into the event. So this allows participants to signal whether they're confused or not. So let's activate this and we can see what that looks like. The next one then is authentication. So there's different methods of authentication that you can activate. You'll see authentication here, participant pseudonym, which is like a nickname. You then have the option to display the usernames, and then we have attendance sheet. So with competition mode, one mode of authentication does have to be activated because we need to be able to identify the participants in the leaderboard. So you'll see the participant's pseudonym is automatically activated for the competition mode. The next thing we have then is the message wall. So this allows participants to send messages during the event. And you'll see that once this is activated, there's different things that we can activate. So you can activate likes, allow images, and then at the end export it to Excel. So let's allow likes for this. We then have 3 other options here. So we have theme, where you can customize the theme of the event, maybe change the colors. That's something that you can look at yourself. We then have participant devices, so allowing participants to answer in different ways, answer via SMS, answer via web. And then you have the results tab down here, which we'll look at just after this. You'll also see then at the top, we have the option to share event. So there's different ways that you can share the event with your participants or with other collaborators. So that's, again, something that you can look at yourself when you feel ready. Okay, so now that we've adapted the event to our needs and what we want for our participants, we're going to go ahead and rerun the event. So you'll see here, because we've already run the event once, we've been given this little notification. So your event has results. We have the option to check the results or reset the event to present it to a new audience. So that's what I'm going to show you. So we're going to go ahead and reset the event by clicking on the reset event button. So just a warning, once you reset the event, all of the previous answers and data will be erased. So if that's not what you want and you want to keep those answers from a previous class that you ran, the best thing to do is to duplicate the event. So this will keep all of the same questions, all of the same settings, but a blank copy of the event. So that's what you can do. But for this time, I'm going to just go ahead and reset the event because I don't want to keep these answers. So we'll go reset. And then it brings us back to a clear copy of the event. So we're going to go here and we're going to go start event. So you can join via that link that I'd sent into the chat previously. I'll send it in again just in case. So let's go here. I can see we have some questions, so I'll come back to those in just a second. So yeah, we'll wait for a couple of people to join. Again, scan the QR code, wooclap.com, and enter the event code, or join via the link that I sent into the chat. So you'll see then we're moving through our presentation. This is one of the slides that we have, and then we come to our question. So this should appear directly on your device now, and you can see, unlike before, the answers don't appear straight away. So they're actually hidden. So this is obviously to assist with the competition mode to ensure that people are answering for themselves. You'll also see down here at the bottom that this time we have a timer. Me as the presenter, I actually have complete control over this timer, so I can reset this at any time by just clicking on the timer again and resetting. So giving people that little bit of extra time that they might need if it's going too fast. So I've just reset that there to the 30 seconds. And as before, I can see how many people are connected and how many people have answered. So maybe people are still connecting because I know this time you have to enter a username. So I'm going to reset this timer again. And I can see we have our 6 answers. So maybe let's go ahead and we can show the results then. Or we can hide the results and show the correct answer. And let's keep moving through our presentation. So you can see here we come to the polling question that we asked. So do you understand the GDP notion? Again, we have our timer down the bottom, which has been applied across all of our 3 questions that we created. You may also see on your screen now that you have a little toggle button up the top that says, I'm confused. And I also have that up here at the top. So if anyone wants to toggle that button on, just so we can see what it looks like up here, and I see people have found it, nice. So I can see then how many people might be confused on this question. So they might maybe not understand the way that I asked it, or maybe they want more information on it. It's just a nice indicator for the presenter to be able to follow along with what their participants are feeling or thinking. And again, I've complete control over how the results are shown, so I can show the results at any time or hide them. And let's keep them shown. And then let's move through our presentation again. So you'll see now at the bottom here, we have a new little tab that says messages. So if I click into this, this actually brings me to the message wall. So there's nothing here yet because nobody has sent any messages yet, but you should have a little icon on your screen that should allow you to send a message. So if anyone wants to test that out, don't hesitate so that we can see how it looks here. Great, I see people have found it. Hello from Belgium. Hello from France. And yes, you should have the option to like any of the messages sent as well. So this maybe if students are asking questions, somebody asks a question, and maybe another student has the same question, or maybe they agree with something that someone else has said. They can like this question or like the phrase or like whatever has been put on the message wall. And then this for you as the presenter will then give you an indication as to what the students are thinking, what your participants are thinking, and how they feel. So that's a nice little thing to activate if you would like. So let's head back to our questions then. And let's keep moving. So you'll see then the next question we have is find Australia on this map as before. So you'll see again that the answers don't pop up straight away. And I can reset the timer. You can see that we have 6 people that have answered, 7 people that have answered. So maybe wait 20 more seconds. Maybe some other people might like to answer. We'll wait for the timer to run out. And you'll see that when the timer runs out, it automatically locks the question, so students can no longer answer. So after that time is up, you'll see then that the question is closed and no one can vote anymore. So then it's up to you to show the results and show the correct answer. Then you'll see just beside the message tab that we have this other new icon, which is the trophy icon. So if we click on this, this will then bring up our competition mode. So you'll see, first of all, it displays the top 3 players. We can then display the top 5 and the top 10. So depending on how many people were connected to your event, how many people answered, you'll be able to then go in increments of 5. So you'll be able to see all the different top players. So you'll see that some people, the points are quite consistent here because we only had 2 questions that counted towards the score in this, which were the find on the image question and the MCQ, as the polling question was purely to collect feedback or to assess understanding. So that did not have any points bearing on it. And then to get out of that competition mode, all you have to do is click again on that trophy. Well, thank you everyone for your participation again in this event. I saw some questions. I want to check if there's anything that we might need to go through. I think Mikkel has managed to answer them. If anyone has any other questions while I'm going through this next little part, don't hesitate. And I can always go through anything extra that I might have gone through too fast or anything like that. Just let me know. Alrighty. So now that you've rerun your event, we have this notification again that our event has results. So this time, instead of resetting the event, we're going to check our results. So to get to the results again, you can click on this check the results button or check the results link that comes up on your screen. Or you can also access via the results tab in settings, and you'll see this access to reports. So let's go ahead and click on the reports. So you'll see that there's a number of different options here that you can view your event in. So first off is the full presentation. So this is the presentation we uploaded, also with the questions and the answers integrated into it. We then have just the questions, and this can be exported as a PDF or to Excel. The next one then is interesting. So this, you can see an individual report for each of the participants in your event. So you can see that we had 10 participants. So you'll be able to see all 10 of our participants here and what they answered to each question. If a mode of authentication was activated that had some way of contacting the participants, you have the option to send an individual report to each of your participants by clicking on the Send Individual Report button, or you can also export as a PDF as before. Then the last way to view your reports is this grid view, which is really, really interesting as it gives you a really good overview of all the results and all the messages or all of the answers that all of your participants have given. So it gives you a really good global understanding of the group. So you can see here all of the usernames. You can then see the competition mode, the different points that people earned. And then it gives you a really good view then of how people managed to answer the different questions. So we can see question 1, there was a couple of people that maybe weren't sure on the question. Question 2, most people got this right. And then question 3 then gives us, again, that understanding of whether people understand that GDP notion or not. And this can be exported to Excel, which is really handy if you were looking to maybe filter the results in a certain way to see what students answered this to this question and maybe to give you that extra bit of insight. So there you have it. That's the report section. So then the last thing that I wanted to go through on Wooclap itself is the asynchronous mode. So that you'll see here on my screen, we have 2 kind of tabs here. So the first one being live session, which is what we've just gone through, the event that we just ran. But you'll also see that we now have this self-paced session just to the right of the live session button. So if we click in here to the self-paced. So this, we call it a questionnaire. So the questionnaire mode allows you to create questions that students can answer at their own pace, hence the name self-paced. So for example, you might create a quiz before a class to review maybe the previous chapter or the previous lesson that you did. Or you could create a questionnaire for after the lesson as maybe a homework assignment. So for example, maybe for this one for myself, let's create a questionnaire to get feedback on this session that we just ran. So I'm going to click here on create questionnaire. So again, similar to the Wooclap event, always encouraged to rename your questionnaire. Otherwise, it's like the Wooclap, it's called my new questionnaire. So let's call this feedback. And I'm going to go ahead and save my questionnaire, save the name. Oh, that didn't work. Feedback and save. There we go. You then have 3 different options to add questions or create your questionnaire. So you have your new question button, similar to Wooclap. You have your import questions, or you have add instructions. So for import questions, this could be interesting if maybe you ran a Wooclap event during class and you want students to be able to access those questions again after class. You could simply just click in here, click into your event that you just created, and import all of the questions that you just ran in class. But that's not what I'm going to do today, as this is to gather feedback. So I'm going to go a new question. Let's go with an open question. Let's say let's ask, do you have any questions? So simple question, and we're going to go allow multiple answers maybe, and let's go save. We'll add one more question. Let's go with a polling question again to gather feedback. Let's say, did you enjoy this session? Question mark, we'll say yes and no, simple again. Except this time, let's maybe allow comments to allow people to explain their choices if they wish. So we'll go ahead and click on save. And as before, you'll see that the questions have now been entered into my questionnaire. And then to save your questionnaire, very important again, is to click on this save button. You'll then be given the option to publish your questionnaire now or publish it later. So I'm going to click on publish later just so I can show you how to publish it from the screen. So let's go ahead and publish later. You'll then see we're brought back to the self-paced session screen, and you can see our questionnaire there in front. So you have this little toggle button to publish the questionnaire or to unpublish. So I'm going to publish this for now. So you should be able to access this via the link that I sent in the chat. If you ever do create a questionnaire, you have the share option here, and you can share the direct link to the questionnaire. You can copy it and then share it directly with your participants. You'll see there's also the option to share files. So maybe you want to share the PDF presentation that you shared during your class. So for example, I can share my geography course that I presented to you during class. And similar to the questionnaire, all I have to do is publish so that it's shared, or I can unshare it at any time. So let's leave that as shared. So there you have it. That is the asynchronous mode for you. I'm going to have a quick look back at the chat box and the questions just to double check that we're all okay before we go into the last part of the session. Everyone seems to be following. If you do have any questions and you want to ask them in the questionnaire, don't hesitate. I'll check back on that at the end too. Alrighty then. So for those of you that maybe have subscriptions that include the Wooclap AI, or for those of you that are just interested in the functionalities that Wooclap AI can bring, I'm going to quickly run through the different things that Wooclap AI permits you to do. So the first thing with Wooclap AI is the Wooclap AI question creation. So I'm back on my event interface here. So we're going to click, like before, on our new question button. So when I click here, of course, you see all of the different question types as we went through, but you'll also see this button up here in the featured section, create using AI. So some of you maybe have already had a look at this. So we're going to go through it now. So we're going to click on create using AI. So this first then brings up the screen. There's different options that you can use to create your questions. First thing is from a document. So you can upload a file once it correlates with the different requirements. So PDF, PowerPoint, Open Document, Pages, text, maximum 200 megabytes. You can create questions from text. So you could enter in some context as to what kind of questions you would like to create. You can then create questions from a topic. So you'll see the different things that you'll have to fill in to generate the content. You can create from a YouTube video by inserting a public or published YouTube link. So if it's a YouTube video, you just need to ensure that it's public and able to be viewed in order to create content from that. A link maybe from a website, a web page, something like that, or an audio or video file similar to the document option. Must agree with the things here that you see on screen. So for this example today, what I'm going to show you is how to create questions from the document. So this is just the one that I'm going to use. I have this document on neuroscience of the brain. So I'm going to go ahead and open that here. So you'll see that my document has been uploaded. So I know that this is a pretty big document. So we also have the option to narrow down your content by selecting the relevant pages. So what I'm going to do is ask the Wooclap AI to create questions from pages 3 to page 7, as I know that they're the pages that are going to be relevant for this class. If your PDF is a scanned document or a screenshot or a photo of a text document, you'll see that you have the option here to click this button to inform it that it is one of these types of media, and it will adapt then to that. So once I've that done, the next thing to do is to continue. And then we see what type of content would you like to create. So we've 6 different types of questions that we can create using the Wooclap AI. So we've multiple choice, poll, open questions, and then we've recently added the fill in the blanks, the matching questions, or the brainstorming questions. So maybe for this one, I'm going to create matching questions and multiple choice questions. So you'll see you then have the option to completely personalize your questions by selecting the number of correct answers, number of false answers, and for the matching question, the number of matches. You then also have the option to add additional instructions. So maybe if you want the question, you could enter, say, these are questions for year 4, please adapt, or make questions related to a certain topic or something that's in the document. So that's up to you, whatever additional context you'd like to give the AI. Then finally, the last thing to do is to generate the content. So we're going to go ahead and click on our generate content button here. So you'll see that it's analyzing the content. It then detects the language that the content is in. And then soon enough, we will have our questions in just a couple of seconds. So you'll see while it generates, sometimes it takes a little second, and then we have our content generated. So you'll see that it has identified that in the document, in those between pages 3 and 7, there was 2 different sections. So it's then created the 2 different sections. So this is for section 1. So let's have a look. The multiple choice questions then that they've generated, you'll see that they're all here. And we know that as a presenter, as a teacher, that you still want to keep control over the content that you present to your students or your learners. So you can then obviously edit whatever you like here. So by deleting answers, maybe changing answers or adding a choice manually. So you have still that complete control over it. So there's 10 questions generated per question type that you select. So I'm going to delete a few of these because maybe there's some here that we don't exactly want, because we don't want to have all 10 questions in our event interface. So let's keep these 2 because I know that these are specific to my learners this time. And let's have a look at our matching questions. Again, similar to the multiple choice, you can delete whatever questions you like. You can delete whatever options, maybe change some of the answers that were given, add a match manually. It's completely up to you. Then once you've edited your questions and they're exactly the way that you want them, you can then add the questions to your event by clicking on this Add Questions to Event button. And you'll see then our 2 multiple choice questions that we wanted and our 3 matching questions that we wanted have been added to our event. So that's the Wooclap AI question creation. We've recently released another part to the Wooclap AI, which I'm going to demonstrate to you now quickly just before we save time for question and answer at the end. So we recently have started integrating Wooclap AI directly into the questions itself. So I'm going to go here to my AI examples. So I have 3 different ones made out. Let's go with the business examples. So as I said, we've started integrating AI into the questions itself directly. So this is to make the AI easier for you guys to use and to really show you the benefits of how it can help you in the classroom, time saving, and making that interactivity much easier for you and your students. So I'm going to go ahead and display my event. No need to connect to this one, as I'm just going to be showing you. So here you see, for example, so that I'm in a business class, maybe a marketing class, we might say. So I've just asked an open question, and I've asked my students, what comes to mind when you think of content creation? So you can see all of the different answers that they've submitted. advertising, paid, day in the life, lots of different things, as this is a very broad question to really just try and gauge what they thought of content creation. So you'll see, obviously, with the open question, you can view them whatever way you like, word cloud, results, or the results grid. So still very hard to captivate kind of what exactly the students are thinking. But you'll see here now that I have this new button that says automatically group answers. So if I go here, and we're just going to go ahead and group the answers. And then what the Wooclap AI does is it groups all of the different answers that students have given or that the participants have given into concrete categories, concrete topics that I can then look at as a teacher and say, okay, this is what the students were thinking. So you'll see I can move through the different categories that were created. So you'll see social media platforms, content creation, lifestyle and authenticity, advertising and monetization. So it really helps then to solidify the thoughts of the students, and maybe this can contribute then to group work, or honestly for the teacher themselves to really understand what their students were thinking. The next AI agent then that we've integrated is into the brainstorming question. So you'll see here that we have our brainstorming question as normal, and we have some answers from some of our students in the different categories. So as before, you'll see that we have our little magic stars button here on each of our categories. So let's have a look and see what it can do here. So say, for example, in this category, we can see, okay, lots of answers from students here. Again, similar to the open question, hard to really understand exactly what they're thinking. So we have this generate with AI button, and we have this agent generate summary. So let's go ahead and click on this. So we see that then the AI is going to generate a short summary of exactly what the answers that students gave are in a short phrase. So you'll see here, success in content creation by 2025 hinges on maximizing likes, revenue, reach, and engagement. So really synthesizes all of the answers that the students gave in a simple form. Then we can see maybe in this category, okay, we're lacking a couple of answers here. Maybe students need some inspiration. Maybe they don't really know where to go with this category. So we're going to go to our little star button up here to generate with AI, and you'll see we have this option, generate answer. So this is going to then generate some new ideas to maybe spark the students' minds and think, oh, okay, maybe I can answer like this. So you'll see that we have a new answer that was generated, and then hopefully students after this can take some inspiration from this and come up with new ways to think, thanks to the answer that we got from our AI. Then this is the fourth agent that we have integrated. So this is inside the MCQ question. So this is a question that we actually created ourselves today during that geography lesson that we did. So you'll see here, the question is, which of the following is a primary advantage of print marketing? So when I show the correct answer here, we can see that it's high engagement rates. You'll then also see down here at the bottom that we have our little purple icon suggesting the Wooclap AI is available. You'll see that we have the option to create a follow-up question. So let's go ahead and click on this. So this is then going to create a question following on from the MCQ question that you just asked. So you have the option to customize the instructions to maybe you could ask another question about print marketing. So let's ask this. Okay, ETING, ask another question about print marketing, because maybe some students were asking more about this and they want to find out more. So let's go create a follow-up question. And you'll see then a question is created there and then on print marketing, and you can see that we can have the correct answer there as well. The final then place that we've integrated AI for the moment is in the label the image question. So let me reset this so I can show you exactly how it looks like. So this is the label the image question. Again, this is something that we actually haven't shown today. So it's going to ask you, it's similar to the find on the image. So let's go ahead and upload a question, as I said, similar to the find on the image, except this time I want to upload this diagram that I have. So as a business marketing class, I've uploaded this diagram of the 4 Ps of the marketing mix. So originally what you would have to do is to maybe, if you want students to be able to label the 4 Ps, you would have to blur all of the areas manually and then insert an item each time and name it. So price, etc., etc. But you'll see again that we have our purple star icon, which indicates the Wooclap AI. You have the option to auto-label this image. So let's go ahead and see what this does here. If we click, and you'll see that all of the icons are automatically labeled and blurred for you in a matter of seconds. So it does do it for all of the text on screen. So there might be some that you might have to remove, which here the title. But you'll see that we have our 4 Ps here labeled on the side. There and then, short and sweet, quick, and you can display it straight away. And there you have it. So they are the 5 new AI agents that we have integrated directly into the questions themselves. Coming up tomorrow, we actually have a webinar on the AI agents that are available. I think my colleague Mikael is going to send in a link to be able to join that webinar. If you sign up, we are giving 1 month free AI access. So if you liked what you saw here today, you can sign up to that webinar and you'll be able to access Wooclap AI for free for 1 month. So you can join and sign up for that webinar via the link that my colleague has just sent into the chat, or by scanning the QR code that you see on your screen now. So we hope to see you all there. As you can see on the agenda, we'll be going through how co-creation really shaped these AI agents, ways to encourage engagement and interactivity, and then we'll be going through practical, concrete use cases on how you can really utilize Wooclap AI within your sessions. I'm having a look at the chat now. It doesn't seem like we have any questions. I might actually just have a look at our participant pace questionnaire just to double check. But let's have a look at our report. Great. Okay. Nice to see. So some people export to Excel. Yeah, really handy. Nice. Okay, good to see that everyone has enjoyed the session so far. But we're coming to a close, unfortunately. So I'm going to go back to my presentation that I was sharing. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the chat now as we're wrapping up. You have now completed your Wooclap training session. So if you would like to download your training certificate, you can do so by scanning this QR code, or by clicking on the link that you will find in the post-meeting email on the conclusion of this, and you'll be able to get your training certificate from there too. So thank you all for your attention today. Thank you so much for attending and for your participation. Hope that you enjoyed, hope that you learned something, and I hope that you'll be able to take away and go forth and use Wooclap in your courses and classes confidently now. If in the future you have any questions, suggestions, feedback, anything you'd like to see, don't hesitate to let us know by writing to us at info@wooclap.com, and my colleagues would be more than happy to assist you and to take your feedback on board. I'm going to check back on the chat box one last time. Can I see the QR code again? Absolutely. Let me go back. Again, you can get your training certificate from the link that you'll find in the post-meeting email as well. So that might be easier for you if you prefer to do it on your computer. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for joining, and have a great day. Hope to see you at the webinar tomorrow to find out more about our wonderful new Wooclap AI agents, and hopefully see you at another of our Wooclap sessions very, very soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely day.